Hey y'all, we're back. Second time you're seeing some of us, third time you're seeing some of us, because poor Brian has been recruited into every panel under creation during today. But it's because we love him and adore him, and he has awesome things to say. Hi, I'm back to moderate TTRPGs and Inclusivity. And it's something we're all passionate about, something we all do in some way, shape, or form, be it development, on actual play shows, just playing them because we enjoy them. We all have various levels of experience, and we're going to talk about this. And just to note that I did want this panel to be all people of color on purpose, because there's a lot of things that we can talk about as people of color, specifically mostly Black folks in the RPG space and its hostility toward us, not just, oh, I just didn't want to have anybody white on the panel. There are some specific things that I want to get into while we're here, because y'all have seen me moderate panels. It's going to be a fun and very real discussion. But before we get into that discussion, I want to have everyone introduce themselves, and I'm going to go, I hope I'm pointing the right direction. Brian, you first.
Oh, hi, Brian, Urban Bohemian, everywhere. There is variety streamer here on Twitch. Old school D&D player from the Red Book, then stopped, and more recently in the cast of a live play show, Dungeon Crossing.
This is CB Omega.
That threw me a high. I don't know why. I was like, not gonna be me to laugh. Right, who that? Must be a local. Hello, friends. My name is Omega Jones, also known as the Critical Bard. I'm an actor, vocalist, hot mess incarnate. I am the creator of the Black AF Roundtable, which was a series of talks by Black creators talking about the realities of racism within the tabletop community, which is very perfect for this current panel. Yes, that's me. I do a lot of Twitch stuff, and yeah, go Blackness. I don't know.
Blackness. I can't stand you some days. Yeah, Neo.
Hey everybody, I'm Okenyo. You might know me online as DM Jazzy Hands. I am the DM and producer of an actual play D&D podcast. I do tabletop streams sort of all over the place, including with Tanya for Into the Motherlands. And on my channel here on Twitch, I am a variety video game streamer, mostly Dragon Age stuff and Baldur's Gate 3. So more video game versions of tabletop stuff.
And Sin.
Hello there, I'm Sin. I'm he, him, also a player of Dungeons and Dragons and other RPGs, a writer for the Mnemonic RPG, and here to enjoy time with these lovely folks.
Yes, my first time paneling with Sin. I'm super excited. And my name is Tanya Cypher. I do a lot of RPG content. I am the DM for Season 8 of Rivals of Waterdeep. Whenever we adjourn and go back to Thetis, I am the DM on Dragon Age over on Wandering DM's channel, with Eugenio's one of our elven characters who's gone through some things this last season. I've had a chance to play with everyone here except for Sin, and most recently creative director and cast for Into the Motherlands, which is Sundays 4 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Central. On my channel, we just had our 6th episode last night. We have 6 more until I hear news or otherwise, or people just want to send me a bunch of money to pay people for another season of Into the Motherlands. My PayPal is on the internet. You can send it to me, but it's a lot of money. So
it's a lot of money.
It is. It's a lot of money.
It is.
If you are serious, you can hit me up after this panel. And I'm just going to get right into it, because whenever we have these discussions, you always get that one person that's like, why y'all got to talk about this? Why does it matter? It's a game. It's fantasy. So for us, why does inclusivity even matter if what we're doing is making up things and rolling dice?
Go ahead, Omega.
I think we're all ready to just
Somebody go.
We all needed the exact same amount of time to process.
I mean, well, first things first, it is okay to want to see yourself in something, whether that's a video game, a movie, a television show, a performer, even in sports. It's okay to see your favorite person be a quarter man back. I don't sports ball. Okay. But it's important because we talk about wanting role models and people we can look up to and people we can see ourselves as. And if you never see that in the thing that you love, then you're going to feel, there's a level of, I don't want to say psychological warfare, but it's like, if I never see somebody like me, then why would I feel good about being what I am? If that makes sense. Like being able to latch onto something that's like you and understand and feel that through them, it's almost enlightening for yourself, especially as children growing up. I know for a fact whenever I played games other than Eddie Gordo and Tekken, how many black people did I see? And
Okay.
so like it's okay to not want to be the stereotypical cis white man that happens to have magic powers, because that's inclusivity for most of these game developers versus anything else. So it's good to see it. It feels good to see it. Anywho, anyone else want to pop in?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's all kinds of reasons. One of them is the same reason that Tanya, you decided to have no white folks on this panel, because when we're telling stories, when we're talking, when we're hanging out, there are things for those of us who experienced have experience as a marginalized person from whatever community, that we can sort of only feel comfortable bringing up or sort of engaging with and exploring when there are other people of color, queer people, disabled people, whatever it is at the table. So for us as players, it's important. Inclusivity is important, because if we're the only one, then we're playing with tokenism, and we're sort of having to filter everything that we say and do to make the other people around the table a little more comfortable. The other thing I'll say is, we have learned that some people cannot be trusted in terms of representation at their table for other cultures and experiences. So if we're not at the table sort of keeping an eye on that and helping to make sure that when a marginalized group is represented in your game, it is done so respectfully and accurately and well, if we're not there to watch that, the unfortunate truth is that there's a very good chance that it's not going to go well, and that stereotypes and prejudices and bigotry are going to be perpetuated in that game. If you think to include us, even if it's not, again, racism is not, and people have been saying this for months now, years now, racism is not in and of itself a terrible thing for me to call you. If I tell you you're doing something racist, you need to examine that behavior. I am not dunking on you as a human in that moment. I am saying what you are doing is problematic. Let's look at it. If we are not there at your table to say that to you, nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to get better.
Somebody talk beside me.
I'm like, stop looking at the chat trying to ban people and talk.
Seriously, you own it. You own it today. Yeah, that's right. We see you. I just honestly, I still come to most things as a player. I've not tried to DM or run a campaign. And for me, games, why does it matter? Because games are supposed to be fun, and everyone around your table is supposed to be having a good time. And you can't, you can't do that by leaving a lot of systems that, we didn't invent, but we inherited. You can't leave those systems out. The fact is, you could flip through the book back in the day and not see a person of color. And there were times when I have just gotten up and walked away from a table and never come back, because the way they tried to introduce anything that was outside of basically a white gaze, it was just handled so horribly. I have had DMs do voices. Don't do voices if you don't know how to do voices.
Don't do voices.
Unless you're Eugenio, don't do voices. Let me say straight up.
You finish your thought, but I actually have thoughts on that, because you're not wrong. But yes.
But yeah, it's just, there are times when you really, to ask even the question, why does it matter, makes me think that you are not invested in everybody you play with having a good experience. And these are all questions you have to consider. And, even if you do them subconsciously, but the minute you react that way, like, well, why does this matter? It's like, okay, you're on the list now. Now you're on the list. I don't know about this. I don't know about this table.
Sin, did you have anything before Eugenio jumps back in?
Oh no, like so far y'all have covered everything I wanted to say, so we're good here.
I don't want to belabor this, but since Brian brought it up, and we may circle back around to this as we talk about more specific things. But my general rule, since it was brought up about voices, because even I won't touch some things in terms of voices. My general rule, which I have been told seems like a reasonable one to follow, is if the accent or the voice that you are trying to imitate comes from a country that colonized other countries, you're probably good. If your accent or voice that you're doing comes from a country that was colonized, probably want to not do it.
Wow.
That's my rule.
Here for that.
Can we just make that an intro roll on it?
Damn. Damn.
Well,
Anyone needs me to
Wow.
narrate? If anyone needs me to say that, I'm good. Let me get that on a shirt.
so hold on, Brian. What's your rate again?
You know my rate.
Yeah, you do.
That's true, but that's a much shorter amount of text. We can discuss that later. But let's not get too out in the weeds because I know that we're easy to get there. But one thing I also wanted to be very clear about is that when we're talking about inclusivity today, it's not just racial, it's not just cultural. There's disability, there is neurodivergence, because how many games have a sanity mechanic and things like because doesn't Cthulhu still have a sanity?
It is a prime mechanic
Yeah.
in it, and I don't care for it.
Well, I thought it had been changed. I've never played Cthulhu. That was a thing that was like, oh no, I got enough of that IRL. I'm good. So there are things where people just can't seem to understand. They can't wrap their head around inclusivity because, like you said, we're trying to have fun. And if I sit at a table and you want to play a slave driver, guess what? That's not fun for me. That's not fun for me at all. Or if you want to tell me because I'm a woman, I got to be a healer, or you want to throw an assault background when we didn't discuss this, because I've been playing way before session 0 was a thing. You just sat at a table and hope for the best. And look at the way that people have reacted to Mustang's art combat wheelchair. Shout out to Mustang art. And people like, that doesn't make sense. And people like actually got out rulers. We're talking about, and in dungeons, a wheelchair couldn't fit through. And I'm just sitting here like there were medieval wheelchairs and prosthetics. Have you all never touched a history book?
No.
I mean, we know that that was rhetorical. We know the people yelled.
Like I just thought about. Like I was listening to you talk about this, and it just set me places because I remember so much of that discourse and just going like, y'all are willing to tell me that you can have a whole boulder roll down a hallway, but not a wheelchair. I need you to make this make sense.
You're telling me that I can make I'm not gonna curse. I learned my lesson. You can make a damn. That don't care. You can make a damn pig fly with 3 tentacles, casting counterspell 24/7, but a wheelchair in this economy? Oh my God! Like what? It ain't that serious. Like let them live. Let them be what they are. Because guess what? Disability has been a thing long before disability was a word. So if you can't handle that, 1, I don't want to F with you. 2, you're irrelevant. 3, like find you a hole and go dig it because you can buy. It's I can't.
No, but that kind of segues into our next thing I wanted to touch on, which is why, and rhetorical not be as ridiculous or as blunt as you'd like to be because it's me. Laws we don't drop too. We get 1 F-bomb, 1 per panel. You can have it, Brian.
I don't know. It's fine. Somebody else can have it. It's all right.
But you're on like 8 million panels today. I think you've earned it.
I'll say it when I turn the camera off for the night. It's fine.
But I want to get into why is this a struggle? Like, why is this such a Sisyphean task of brown elves can exist that are not drow, or we can have combat wheelchairs, or I can be a noble dark-skinned human paladin that isn't an escape slave. Like, why are these basic concepts of there's magic and dragons and all this other stuff in these games, but brown people, and especially like brown people doing well that are not slaves or orcs or whatever, is a bridge too far? How do we keep getting here to these 101, or even, I'm going to be uncharitable, and it's a very American term, of 001 conversations of why can't we just live in a fantasy realm?
It feels like just because people refuse to listen, and it seems like the simplest thing to say, right? But one, like we've been talking about this in general forever, and then when someone goes, well, okay, we're going to try to do the inclusive thing, we want to do the inclusion, but on our terms, or framing it in this particular way. So I want to be in a diverse game where brown people exist. Well, they do, but you can't play them. They're on this continent over here. It's magical. You'll get to visit it at least once. And I'm just like, excuse me, I'm sitting right here across the table and in arm's reach. I will hit you with this whole bag of dice I have. So
Sorry, we're trying.
This is like, no, like, I mean, that's where I'm at with this. It's kind of like some people want so badly to be like center stage and still have control over what that whole inclusion looks like, rather than letting the people, the neurodivergent people or the disabled people or the people of color lead and tell them, this is the experience I want to have and this is what it should look like, and working around it.
I mean, at the end of the day, the effed up part is they don't want it because it's an inconvenience, but our existence is an inconvenience. So it's a whole circle of we're never going to be able to get what we want because it's prime example. How does someone else in a wheelchair affect you? It doesn't whatsoever. How, and let's even take it, that's even more practical, if you will. Not saying that disability is practical, but like that's a physical object. How does somebody with dark skin affect you? What are they doing at all that inconveniences you? Guess what? They ain't doing nothing. But for some reason, you can't fathom the idea of something being different, because if it's different, it's wrong for you. And that's just because we're in a society where, unfortunately, differences aren't just celebrated, they're also antagonized. And I don't care for this because you look blank, or I don't care for this because you have blank, whereas it's not even that serious. So it's like, until society gets to a point, I'm not going to say society, until white people get to a point of understanding that it's okay that not everybody got 50 Shades of Beige, or not everyone is able to walk, and not everyone is neurodivergent, neurotypical. Thank you. Then we're not going to get to that spot. So it's honestly, we're having this conversation, but I'm looking at y'all in the chat. It's going to be up to y'all, or who are other people who are cis and white or whatever, the standard for our society. Those people are the ones who need to start having these conversations and saying, you know what, I'm right. I don't need to see 25 more of me. Let's work on this.
And I don't know, like even like basically everything I nerded out about as a kid, there are Black people, but they are always on an island. And either like they were, like yes, Wakanda as well, but like, like going back to the 50s, like, oh, there are Black people on Krypton. They're just on this separate place that we didn't really ever know about or hear of until we needed one character in a book. Or, these one was even best, like a magical island where the slaves went off and then they only appeared like every like 300 years. And we're like, oh, okay, what? But what I don't understand, and this is the thing, is like this is the conversation that y'all need to have. It's a theater of the mind role-playing game, but these ideas are also backed up by stats. Like you can use the stats that people are writing for these things to include them in your adventures. So where is the real problem? Like, oh, I don't know how to fit a combat wheel. It's okay. I have it written down. Here you go. What's the problem? So that to me is the other thing. It's like you're just actively stopping this because the idea bothers you so much. And I was like, I don't care that the idea bothers you so much, except that I'll find another table. But the fact is, people have figured a way to make this work in the system and in the system's rules that you play by. So the wheelchair is not the problem.
I mean, the most charitable thing that I can say is that people are worried. Some people who are trying, I guess, are worried that they're going to do it wrong. That's sort of the most charitable thing I can say for why we keep having this discussion. Because I'm with you, Brian. That's why I'm starting here, because we're gonna dig in. They're worried that they're gonna misrepresent a queer person is gonna offend somebody, so they just don't. They're worried that they're gonna misrepresent a disabled person and offend somebody, so they just don't. That doesn't fly, but it's sort of the most charitable answer to why are we still having these 101 questions that I can come up with, right? To what Brian and CB said, it's exactly that. It's a little extra work. And straight folks, cis folks, white folks, neurotypical folks, able-bodied folks are not used to having to do that extra work. And when all of a sudden we ask them to, they're like, "Oh, but or I won't." So no. But that's what it is. They got to do the work. I get people messaging me all the time saying, "Hey, I want to start this. I want to do this stream, this tabletop stream. But right now I've got 6 white dudes and me, and I just don't know what to do." Okay.
Every time.
Well, yeah, and everyone died. And it's
Thanks, you TPK'd the panel, you
I'm
Henry.
so
Great
sorry.
job.
I'm so sorry. Right, but I get it, and I'm sure the rest of y'all have gotten it. And either they're coming to us to say, "Hey, you wanna tick that box for us and join the thing," or "Who can you recommend?" And here's my problem with that. Look, in the barest minimum, I guess I appreciate that you are aware that you currently have an issue with your cast, right? But it's 2020, y'all. The barest minimum just ain't enough anymore. If you're coming to me to ask me what people of color, what queer people, what disabled people, don't come to me for who disabled people. You should, but that's a whole other thing. There are other people who are, anyway. If you're coming to me, what that tells me is that, well, let me finish this first. If you are coming to me, that tells me that there isn't anyone else that you could think of, right? And that's the problem. That's it right there. There are 5 people on this panel, and there could have been, off the top of my head, 20 more, and we still wouldn't have had a white person on this panel. We are out there. Queer gamers are out there. Disabled, neurodivergent gamers are out there. You have got to go take a little extra effort and go find us. Because let me tell you right now, you come to me and you ask me, "Hey, sight unseen, stranger person comes to me and says, 'Hey, do you want to do this thing? I want this to be a more diverse cast. And so told me to contact you.'" So you don't know who I am. You don't know what I do. You don't know anything about me other than that I'm a queer Mexican man. No, thank you. Like, take the time, visit our Twitch channels, visit our streams, check out our podcasts, check out our YouTube channels, get to know, because you could go down a list and name a bunch of straight, cis, white, neurodivergent folks, or sorry, neurotypical folks that you could invite to your game. Why can't you do that for us too? You've got to invest in us. I'm sorry, go ahead, CB. I'm going off.
Just a real quick, I'm gonna piggyback off of that
please.
just for a second, because something that has guided me, it's like, I don't care about the devil's advocate. I don't care about the, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. Sure. However, before COVID hit, I can understand. Before COVID hit, I can get, we're all going out into the world and blah, 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 and our circles and our actual homes and worlds and stuff. Maybe I don't know many people. I'm going to give you that. But we are literally virtual right now. Our entire existence in gaming is virtual. You telling me right now you can't go on Twitter and scroll down your list and find a neurodivergent person, a disabled person, a Black person, a queer person, a trans person, a non-binary person. They're right there. And you still don't know nobody? That's me. That's active ignorance to me. That means you purposely didn't click on somebody and followed them and tried to figure out what they were doing, because we are on a social media peak right now. Everybody on social media, because the only way we're talking. Corona did that. And if Corona got more diversity than you do, that's a problem.
Ouch.
And I please add to both CB and Eugenio here. Even if you didn't think to click on google.com, even if it isn't on your timeline, every single one of the people on this panel, multiple people who are probably in chat right now, have posted list after list after list after list after list weekly, like twice a week, with 5 people on it, at least 10 people on it, with their PayPals, their Patreons, their Ko-fis, their Twitch channels, their websites, their book lists, and games that they're running, and everything else. And if we are still in November, where people have been posting this for 6 months, it's like you literally are just trying not to see. Please get out of my mentions.
And also, I'm going to be the greasy one, as B Dave likes to say. If you get in my mentions, if you get in my DMs, if you have that privilege, like I said, Sin just walked away.
Like, no, we all
Goodbye.
need. Come on with it. We all need the props for this.
Where is
Oh.
the man?
When you get in my
No.
DMs, and CB knows exactly what I'm gonna say. If you decide that you want me to be on your show, don't offer me a pittance.
Oh my god.
Don't offer me, or I would just rather have you say that I can't afford to pay somebody to be on a show. But if you go, I'm trying to make a diverse show, and you run down this whole list of people that you have asked, and then you go, okay, well, how much are you paying? Because I'm just gonna be real, I'm expensive. And you go, I could pay you X, and I go, well, these shows already paid me this. I make more than this on Twitch. You legit trying to do this, and you think I'm gonna be your checkbox? I don't think so. Also, think about the fact of if a story is yours to tell, because if you don't know about a culture, there are plenty of people, most of us on this panel, people in the chat, on Twitter, do diversity consulting. And if you're trying to mash cultures and look at us, we're so diverse. And then you reach out to every random Black and brown person via Twitter, DM, email, whatever, and go, we're doing this thing. Aren't you going to support it? And I'm like, no, I'm not. Because I don't know who you are, what you're doing, and what is this trash you have brought to me. I'm not a raccoon. I'm not eating any crumbs.
I love raccoons, though.
I love raccoons too.
Yeah,
They're
no,
cute.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I know.
I have no real opinion on raccoons.
Wow.
Everything that we have said on this topic boils down to y'all have got to get out your majority bubble, right? You got to get out your only watching white Twitch streamers bubble, which obviously you're here now, so that probably isn't many of you in chat, but right. You've got to get out of your all straight bubble. You got to get out of these bubbles because there are other interesting stories out there being told. And everything that we have said about don't come at me sight unseen, don't come at me offering me nothing, don't come at me offering from, asking for advice in a cold Twitter DM, all of that boils down to you've got to come support us. You've got to come be aware of us and know what we do, because we all out here creating content, right? That's the reality, is you can come and you can watch us and you can see us doing our thing. And once you do that, then you have some kind of a connection to us when you need to call on us for something. Then you have an awareness of what this community and what this world is out there. So you're not asking, a question that either should be relegated to Google or that you should just know because you've done the work ahead of time, right? Y'all have got to do that extra work of get a very basic work. And this is not just for gaming. Look, I think we all understand that this is just going to enrich your lives in general. But like, if you find yourself unable to truly think of people who can join your game, streamed or not, recorded or not, at home for your own pleasure or for an audience, if you legitimately cannot think of someone who doesn't look and act and love and move through the world like you do, that is quite the indictment on the way that you live your life and the people that you allow in your life, right? So let's fix that. And then it feels to me like everything else, if it's not going to fall into place, it sure is going to be a hell of a lot easier for you.
Any other deep thoughts before I get into the real meat of things? Because that's when
Let's go forward.
Let's go.
So, one thing that all of us have heard and has been told to us is, well, if you don't like it, go make your own. And then when we do, it's like, but not like that. And we're like, but you said the thing, go make your own. And I'm a hop in on this one first, and then I'm gonna let y'all run rampant, because if I don't get this out of my system, it will be bad. And we're all friends, and we all the people on the panel. I don't know all y'all in chat. I'm talking to the folks today.
Okay.
Look, when Motherlands was announced, we got the usual, oh, this is racism, and I'm like, first, you don't know what racism means. Reverse racism doesn't exist. And aren't you all the people that tell me this isn't for you, go make your own? When people like Quinn Murphy, Chris Spivey, all these people make their own, and then you're mad that it's an all black, pro-black thing, and you're mad about it. Okay, well, you weren't going to play it anyway. Nobody cares about you. I wasn't getting your money anyway. I wasn't getting your attention. I don't care about you. And that's why when putting together Motherlands, because there was a lot of work behind the scenes before that announcement ever came out. And all the people that got real bad about it were like, well, you're excluding white people. I was like, go to the RPG section on Twitch right now. Go, I don't know how many different people that you can find that's an all white crew. If you that mad about 5 brown people rolling some dice every Sunday, or 13 brown and black folks putting together a story with no colonialism, no slavery, and telling the story with joy. That's making our own. And knock on every bit of wood, paper, whatever, the reception's been fantastic. But 9 times out of 10, we don't get that. And that's where I want to kind of really get gritty with it, because it's just like, we have done everything in our power to exclude you, be it because of your race, your gender, your ability, your neurodivergence, or your lack of neurotypicalness. And yet when we go, okay, deuces, I'm out, I'm gonna go make my own, and it's doing well or it doesn't do well, then it's like this weird, but I want to play. And I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna leave it with y'all, because Brian was in the chat moderating when this happened. First question I got about Motherlands, well, I'm white, can I play it? And I'm like, did somebody just like go to?
That was a growl. I thought it sounded like a cat.
It was a growl.
I was like, are you okay?
No, I'm not okay. Why are you asking if you can play this if you white?
Yeah.
I was just, no, that was like a concern for your health. Are you okay? That was like when Justin laughs, are you okay?
No, not Justin, though. Oh.
Justin, but every time I'm in his chat, I'm like, baby, please breathe. Please breathe. I say this to him in his chat. I'm not telling tales on him.
Called out.
Oh no.
But it's like we get things like that. Like, if I'm white, can I play? Look, ain't nobody got a book. Very few people have seen the lore, and people like, I'm white, can I play it? Or can I modify this? I'm like, you try to modify some shit that ain't even out yet to make it. So let's just jump right in. Your thoughts on the whole, make your own, but not like that.
I get it all the time, not just in gaming. Yeah, it's a lovely pose though.
I know.
I get it
never
all the
awkward, wow.
time. Never. Not just in gaming. I'm a theater artist too, and a performer, and we get it all the time in that too. Particularly people of color all the time are well, why does Cinderella or Prince Eric in Little Mermaid or whatever
We're swapped.
have to be. It's thrilling.
Have
to be white, and people tell us, well, it's just, that's the way the industry is. You got to go make your own. You got to go make your own play. You got to go do your own pilot. You got to do your own web series. Like, it's the same thing that we get in the gaming. And my question is,
yeah, Neo, you're me now.
I'm you now. Oh well, hey, I have the power. My question is, why? You don't have to. Why the F do I have to? Right? Oh, see, I didn't take it up there. Why do I have to? Great. If I want to, and I have an idea and we want to go run and do a thing, that's for us. Fantastic. More power to you. But as we have already mentioned, if we're going to do it right, it's going to be expensive. But why do I have to do that? Why do I, who is already doing extra work because I am a member of a marginalized community, why do I now have to do that much more extra work to create my own thing? And you get to pick up a game book, read the rules, and start playing. Period. Why do I have to do that extra work?
I don't know why, but I'm gonna let you.
Well, right, but this is what that's the response to the question. Go make your own. Why? Why can't I do what you're doing? Did you make your own? Did you have to make your own? No.
Not related to, well, not necessarily in RPG space, but on a related note, it was that same nonsense that happened with the female Ghostbusters movie, where people were just like, how dare you? And it's kind of like, but it was the movie that we wanted to make. People went and purchased tickets to the movie. They clearly wanted to see it, but it was a story you didn't want to tell. Well, I don't like it. You're at home. The story isn't for you. You can just stay at the movie theater. You can take yourself to TJ Maxx for the afternoon if you want to do that and just leave us alone.
It's like, honestly, I have too much to say about this because, as Eugenio said, both of us are in the theater community. Both of us are equity, and it's just like I think I dealt with so much in my own space was simply, because here's the thing: I am a tenor. I'm attractive. I would say so. I'm tall. I should be your romantic lead, but I always get relegated to either nothing because you don't cast me, or the random black guy who's wailing in the back, which is fine. I'm not mad about that. But when I stop getting cast and I say, hey, this is a problem, this is a problem, the first thing I hear is, well, if you go do that show with that black director, maybe you might get cast. And it's like, well, why do I have to go to the black director to get cast? Why can't you just see what's there? But instead, I have to go make my own thing. But it also, to tie that back in, it also irks me so much, that statement, make your own, is that one, why? Why do we have to? But two, when we do, you still mad. So you don't care whether we made it on our own or using yours. You just don't want us to exist. Period.
That's the
That's
word.
an issue. It's not about making our own. You just don't want us to make anything. You just don't want us to be. And guess what? We're gonna make it and do it whether you like it or not. Just like with Motherlands. Motherlands, I mean, just being blunt, Motherlands isn't for non-people of color. It's really not. Though you can play it, it wasn't made with them in mind. It was made to celebrate blackness and just the melanin in general. You can still play it, but don't get mad when you see me talking about, the everything that Motherlands is. If you don't, what's the word I'm looking for? If you don't see yourself in that, it's okay. Because guess what? Just as we said at the beginning of this panel, there's so much in this world, so many games in this world that I've never seen myself in. So I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna love it. And if you don't love it, well, you can kick rocks with flip flops, with no socks, and don't stop because I don't care.
Oh goodness. Anything else? Because I know that we can go on all the tangents. And Sin, did you get, because since you were gone for a hot second, I just want to make sure you get a chance to chip in.
Oh no, I got some water while I was gone. We're fine.
No, my thoughts on this are too charitable, so no one deserves that. So
Oh no, don't be charitable because I'm not Eugenio. I'm not charitable.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
okay, so
Like,
we're
I
not
get-
being charitable today?
we don't have
Okay.
No,
it's just us. It's just us. No, I understand that, like I come to it from like nerddom of a lot of different kind of media, that when it starts to do something new and different, and because like of the year, new and different often means diverse in some way, changed from the core, whatever. I know that there's that fear that, well, I don't like this new popular thing, but everyone else really likes this new popular thing, and I'm never going to get the kind of thing I like again. To which I say, too bad, because there's a reason things are popular. It's because people like them. But yeah, as CB says, no one is making you play the new stuff. Nobody is, like, you can sit there with your, like, the same hardbound book you cracked back in the day and play that version of everything forever. No one's ever going to stop you. That's on you at your table. There's no reason for you to be mad because people are finding things that make the game more accessible, more fun, more welcoming, more. I don't really know how you can argue with any of these. So maybe you're just an asshole. I don't know. Like,
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, and here's the thing, nobody's being forced to watch Motherlands. No one's being forced to have black or brown elves that are not drow. No one's being forced to watch Rivals of Waterdeep. And the thing with Rivals of Waterdeep, I didn't really want to bring it up with this part because while it is all black and brown cast, we're playing D&D, the oldest game that's out there that has the lion's share of the market. But people still get mad that there's this all black and brown official show. So it's like, yeah, we're here. And the thing is, when our show was put together, that wasn't even the point of the show. It was to show that anybody at any experience level can learn to play D&D 5th edition. Mm-hmm. But we get pigeonholed into the diverse show. Mm-hmm. And people don't bring us up except for the random 50 person in a tweet list of, hey, looking for something that's a black version of Critical Role, which we're not. And we can talk about that too. And, with the caveat and understanding that at least me and Omega know a lot of the people that are in Critical Role. And this isn't we're going to start bashing Critical Role. It's people go, I like this thing, but I want brown faces doing the exact same thing. It's like, there's Dicey Amazons, there's Plot Hunters, there was Tales from the Mist. There's all these shows that are not the big ones with the lion's share that are out there. Because like we said on our earlier panel, you can support us in our joy, not just our pain. These shows been out there. Some of these shows out here longer, been running longer than Rivals, have been out here. A lot of us been nerds since the minute we could hold a book, roll a D20. But folks want to act like we're brand new, or oh, you just discovered D&D because of yada yada. Look, I'm older than D&D. I've been there since first edition Red Book. I still got my original dice. So you want a nerd check? We can get that on that level too.
We're not doing that. But it is the thing where people want to constantly write tweet after tweet, article after article, think piece after ever-loving think piece about, well, why doesn't this hobby speak to women? Why doesn't this hobby speak to Black people? Why does this marginalized group find it so difficult to get into the hobby? I can't find players who'll do X. But then the moment that anything opens up to them, the minute anything just says, hey, here's something you can try, everyone gets so mad. And I'm like, do you not see how these things are connected? Like, honestly, keep your crusty, dusty hobby. Don't nobody want to play with you.
Right.
Because Tanya, you already started saying this, right? But let's talk about, how do we fix this, right? Like, what do we do? What do people need to do, right? You all need to go, if you have not, and look, skip mine if you want, because I'm not saying this to up my follower numbers, but every single person on this panel, y'all better have followed their Twitch channel and their Twitter and whatever else they have, so you know what's going on. Do you have to like the content that every one of us does? Absolutely not. You are more than welcome to think that I am a terrible storyteller for Into the Motherlands. I don't know what you tell me, because I don't care, but like, you're welcome to think that. We're not saying you have to like every single thing that a person of color, a queer person, a neurodivergent person, a disabled person does. But y'all got to give us that space, and you got to give us that support so that we too can become a default part of this space. And then if we want to start getting picky about, well, I like this and I like this style and I like this style. But right now, we're just trying to exist, y'all. So go follow us, support us, watch our stuff. Because right now, what we get is either, right, people who are already doing that, and they're there and they're great, but that is such a small portion of the voices out there, right? Or these people that we've talked about, that if it's not exactly the way that Critical Role does it or whatever, but with brown faces, then I'm not into it, right? But we need that middle ground. We need to just be able to exist and interact with this ecosystem of games like everybody else. And right now we can't. Because I don't know, people have expectations on us or something. Just go out, watch our stuff. If you don't like it, okay, stop watching my stuff. Go watch Tanya's stuff. Go watch whatever. But there just is this expectation, I guess, that like everything we do has got to grab you immediately, and you've got to love it for you to support our right to exist in the space.
Can I add here, and onto that comment, you expect a level of excellence out of us as people of color or queer people in terms of content creation and excellence that you literally do not have for the people you currently watch. Like, I do not grasp this. Like, why do we have to come up here with like water purified over diamonds from the top of Mount Fuji brought back to your home in the middle of a Chinese cup from like the 15th century or something like that, and you're out here watching the most mediocre stuff? I'm not saying it's bad. It's just like not groundbreaking. You're completely okay with that until I go, you know, what if we decided to do professions for stats instead of races? Like, I need y'all to nod.
Oh yeah, shout out to Gabe Hicks. I keep wanting to call him by his whole long ass Twitter name.
Gabe James Gabe.
I think every time I refer to him.
But for rewriting that and getting rid of the idea of race in the panel that we did last year at PAX Unplugged, where we talked about this stuff, and that's why we went with no races in Motherlands. We have cultures and you have professions, so you can be from anywhere and do anything. You're not tied to, I'm a fighter, therefore I can only wield this D12 whatever, and I can never do anything again because clearly that's all I can ever be is this fighter. So I just need white people to get some better imaginations. Wow, Brian, I felt the eye roll from here.
I mean, I have faith. I have a little bit of faith, but honestly, you asking a lot.
Brian.
I just said what I need. I didn't say I expected it to happen.
But it's like what for me, what I, as Unio said, how do we fix it? I've said it once and it bears repeating. Apparently, we're giving you all of the options, whether it's diversity and inclusivity or it's literally something tangible like Gabe's class modifier module or the combat wheelchair. All these things, we are literally doing the work. What you have to do is implement it. What you have to do is actually take what we've done and utilize it, or just let it be. You just got to let it exist. Because if you can't even do that, then the work we're doing, while it's still going to be great for us, we're still in the minority. It's never going to get into the majority. And then it's just going to be, it's like we can't do all the work ourselves. Don't get it twisted. We'll do it and love it ourselves. And we don't give two flying about you caring, but you just got to allow it to be, allow it to breathe, allow it to just be there, or take it a step further and actually use it and implement it and support it. And just like what Eugenio said, like if you don't like it, fine. If it's not your cup of Earl Grey tea, fine. You can at least follow it. You can at least retweet it. You can at least do something to put visibility on it. You have ways of supporting that doesn't actually require active support, if that's how pressed you are about it. But if you just do nothing and just let it be, that's great for us. But also, like, it's. I'm just gonna keep going in circles. Just let it be. Just let it be.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brian. No, you go ahead.
No, I was like, Jeff, just the thing, to basically, the thing you can do is it's okay to let something be mediocre. You already watch a bunch of mediocre stuff. Like, just let it be. Like, yeah, expecting excellence out of something, expecting something to grab you by the heartstrings within 5 minutes of anything. That's admittedly a pressure a lot of us on Twitch already have, but a lot of people get to just be mediocre. And nobody says, oh gosh, I hate this stuff. But and there are 20 live play shows out there that are fine. It's just a bunch of white dudes all doing their thing. And then one show that's not shows up and you're like, well, I tried and I really couldn't get into it after the first 30 seconds. So I'm not going to watch it again. Like, give us a chance to also be like, okay, mediocre, boring, and maybe give us a chance to like not do well, but at least exist.
And that's the thing, because the last thing I had in our mini agenda, we actually kind of talked about, because we have talked in many ways about how people can do better. So let's talk about that for a little bit, because we're kind of winding down of how literally when we are in these spaces, we have to be the utmost, whether it be us as writers, developers, or anything else, and especially tying that into queer, because for some people, having a brown and queer character is just like, oh my God, I can't do it. And while you're talking, I just wanted to bring up this. If you've not played this, and hopefully you can, you can't see it.
No.
Is it Blue Rose?
It is Blue Rose. Because we are an all queer panel, being queer by default is a state in Blue Rose. It's actually weird to be straight. So if you run really gay up your RPGs, go get Blue Rose. Because if you're straight, it's weird. So
yes, but what about in the game?
I think the same. I think the same.
What was the question? I got excited about Blue Rose and lost track of the conversation.
Brian was gonna say something, but I was like, the question is, how do we reconcile that of the whole? You are the example. We don't get to fail up as many of our white brethren in these spaces get to do. Like, they get to be the most mediocre, put out the same reskin of orcs and other bullshit and make money. But then if we go, I'm turning orcs on their head and they're intelligent and they're smart and they're royalty, people go, but orcs. And like, we can't just enjoy and have fun and be ourselves and be allowed to be just like I'm just chilling with my friends and I happen to be sharing it on Twitch.
Unfortunately, this is where we get into like homework from the panel. This is work for y'all out there to do. If you are that default white cis, heteronormative default ready player one person, you are the one who has to not put that work on so many other people. You're the one who has to have those conversations with your friends. You're the one who has to say, let me introduce you to something. And the minute somebody says, I don't know if I like that, then do what everyone else does. Ask the same follow-up question. Well, why not? Like let's sit down and watch this. That's the kind of work that unfortunately the marginalized creators can't do. We can do our best to be our best. And trust me, we are familiar with having, what is it, twice as, we have to basically do twice as much for half as work. Like, we're familiar with that state of being, but there's a certain thing. We can brand ourselves from here to the moon. We can talk, we can have the hustle day in and day out. But at some point, the same people asking us, wow, what can I do about racism? This is what you can do. This is what you can do about inclusivity. This is what you can do to make this space better, is you have to do some of that work.
Yes. And it is no longer enough to sort of tiptoe up to doing that work by, I don't even know, by doing the bare minimum, whatever it is, right? By knowing that the 5 of us exist, right? That's not enough anymore. You got to do that extra work. You got to bring your friend to watch XYZ show. You got to ask that question. And look, there are answers that are perfectly acceptable to why don't you like this? But I bet that more often than not, the answers that will come are either going to be not acceptable, or actually when you press them on it, they will realize that there isn't a good reason. Right. And so maybe they'll give it a try. We are closing out 2020. Those of us in the States have begun the process of taking back our country, and we can't go back to normal. So y'all out there that are the white folks, the cis folks, the straight folks, the able folks, the time is now, right? You have to be willing to do that extra work, like Brian said, or sorry, you don't get to use Tanya's favorite word and call yourself an ally no more.
I'm gonna get you later.
I know.
Can we also throw in here, whenever you're doing whatever this work is that you need to do for these tables, do not do that by introducing these concepts in your games without caution and being reckless about it. For example, if you need to have a conversation about people and needing to work out racism and diversity and needing to get into more of these people of color as content creators, don't put racist scenarios in your actual games. Actually talk about them off the table. When you come to this table, try being in a world that has no racism.
Yeah, no, literally that. Whenever I have session zero, so if you don't know what a session zero is, it's literally the session before the actual game starts, where you come together with the DMs and the players, and you talk about what you're interested in, what you talk about what you're not interested in, lines and veils, and all these things that make the game better in the long run. During that, I can't tell you how many times I'm like, I don't want racism, I don't want slavery. That point blank period. Point blank period, because they're, one, they're tired concepts. 2, they're not necessary to have a good game. So you have the ability in your tabletop games to say, hey, let's not do this, or let's add this. Like, my character is going to make sure you're doing it with respect. And 9 times out of 10, don't do something if you just want to do it for the novelty of it. But like, if your character is disabled and want to be in a combat wheelchair, do it. There's nothing wrong with it at all. You can add those things into your games and make it better, and at the same time, get rid of the bull that doesn't need to be there. I mean, you have the ability to do it. It's fantasy. It is there.
Yeah, and Yania's gonna laugh at this. And if you do put slavery or something in your game, go sit on a panel that is being streamed from PAX and brag about it. Because
I beg all of the parts.
I will tell you once we're off this channel. We can hop in a Zoom call.
I'll get you the link.
Just, there's a certain point in which I'm very glad they were not showing my face. But there are all these things where people, and they did, and I'm glad for it, because they probably would never let me come back to PAX. But those are the things where it's like, if you do this stuff, A, don't brag about it, and B, first off, you shouldn't do it, and C, ask yourself why this is something you even want to have in your game.
Yeah.
People were property. So why is this a thing that you think anybody would want in your game? Because if you think it's okay, I'm gonna stay real far away from you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of anything else we can touch on because we are nearing the 5-minute mark, and I want to make sure everybody can get final remarks as well as say who they are and where we can find them. So are there any closing thoughts? Because we actually already got, in a very roundabout way, what I was going to ask you all to close on. So any final thoughts before we go around and say who we are and where folks can find us?
My final thoughts, if you're referring to that last question, is when we say something to you about things to do or not do at these tables, do not reinterpret them. We spoke clearly the first time. If I tell you I would like to be a black elf, do not ask me if I want to be a drow. I did not. I wanted to be an elf with tan skin and whatever colored hair skipping through the forest. That is what I asked for. And I have full command of the English language. All of us do. We know how this stuff works. We wanted what we asked for.
Now I just want a picture of you as an elf.
Skipping through the forest specifically.
Yes.
Anybody in chat? Anybody in chat do that? You go. Do you think Twitch?
But listen, if y'all do costuming and stuff, we'll take commissions. It's fine.
The last thing I want to say is actually something that you all haven't seen, but it's right above that last statement, and it's simply be strong and be who you are. Full stop. Whether it's a person of color or whether you're disabled, a neurodivergent, a woman, a trans person, non-binary, whatever makes you different and unique. Be strong in that while playing your games, because it's okay to be that. So many people have asked, why am I still in this RPG space? Because I can be. Periodic table. Because I'm here and you're not going to stop me from being here. So be strong, and it's okay to stand your ground in everything that you do. If you say, I want to be, as Sin says, a black elf, be a damn black elf. If you want to be I'm not gonna say that because y'all gonna take that too far. It's okay. It's okay to enjoy and highlight your differences in fantasy world. That's what makes it amazing. I don't want to play a game where everybody is a cis white male fighter with a sword and a shield. I don't want that. I want to celebrate what makes people unique and different and perfect. That's what I want. So be strong and be yourself always. And if somebody got a problem with that, send them to twitter.com/criticalbard into my DMs. They are open. I will read them to filth. That's all.
All right. Because we are almost out of time, I'm going to go in some order. I'm going to go in the order of the Zoom call and go backwards. So it comes back to me. Sin, who are you? What do you do? Where can we find all your RPG goodness?
So, hello. Sin, that's me. You will find me creating content here on Twitch. You will also find me on the Twitters at Sinziak Beta. I promise it is easier to spell than it sounds. Also, you can find me on Sinziak.com, where I post all of my nerdy thoughts about things and stuff that I'm writing.
Awesome. Eugenio.
Hey everybody, I'm Eugenio. You can follow me on Twitter and here on Twitch at DM Jazzy Hands. I'm the Dungeon Master and producer for an actual play D&D podcast. So if that's your thing, you can check us out on Twitter at DND Last Refuge. And what else? Later tonight, I'll be on the Roll20 channel, premiering season 2 of a science fantasy game called Burn Bright. You can check us out. And then Sunday nights over with Tanya at Into the Motherland. So for sure, hop into chat, say hi, and support that all Black NPOC group of role players and developers, writers, and awesome folks.
It's Omega.
Hey, me, Omega Jones, also known as the Critical Bard, active vocalist, hot mess incarnate. If you were here earlier for the Queer Black Experience Conversations panel, well, guess what? Tomorrow, same time slot, I will be moderating the Queer Black Excellence Celebrations panel. and talking about our joy and just being proud of being Black and queer in this community. So be there or be square, I guess. Is that what the cool kids say? You can catch me in many places, but I want to shout out on Sundays at 3 Eastern on my channel, twitch.tv/Critical Bard, is Creature Collectors, which is another D&D campaign of all people of color. So if you say they don't exist, guess what? I just gave you another one to go check out. So it's cool. It's based on Pokemon, Digimon, Cardcaptor, Sakura, Ghostbusters. It's great. So be there. That's me. Bye.
Awesome. Brian.
Hi, yeah, Brian or Bohemian everywhere. Actually, don't go anywhere because I'm going to be on the next panel at 6:30, charity streaming and fundraising. See you then.
Yes, and I've been your moderator. I am done with the summit for today. Tomorrow, though, I will be on Twitch Etiquette and LGBTQIA2 plus spaces because, oh boy, do people need that etiquette panel. Y'all should be there. It is at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. As for RPG stuff, Sundays, 10 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Central, over at twitch.tv, Rivals of Waterdeep. I am the DM for season 8. We are about to hit our halfway point of our season. Obviously, Sundays coming out for Into the Motherlands. And at some point, Dungeon Crossing will come back after people have returned from literally across the globe. And that is Saturdays, 10 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Central. This has been great. Follow us on Twitter. Be nice or I'll block you and I will smile while I do it. Stick around for the next panel. That is charity streaming that Brian is on and our friend Pleasantly Twisted is moderating. So see you soon.